What's good, Red Pill Men? Jay Lee here. I got another Northwest podcast for you. Today, we're going to be doing a long video breakdown. I rarely do this, but this video is so good that we're just going to watch the whole thing. It's 20 minutes long. I'm going to be stopping it and breaking down points. This video is very red pilled, it's very to the truth, and it's coming from women. Modern women who understand what we're talking about, understand what men want, are not in denial, are not combative, are not trying to manipulate or lie or gloss over the truth of how women really feel today. And they're just honest, they're open, they're transparent, and they're objective. And that is very, very, very rare because 99% of women out there are trying to lie. They're trying to hide their true feelings. And I've said this before a million times, is that women succeed through deception. They succeed through manipulation, psychological, emotional, etc. They get what they want from men by not telling the truth. It does not benefit women in any way to tell the truth about modern women, about how they behave, about how they feel, because they work the best in subtlety. They work the best and they succeed in the best way through confusion and not being transparent and open and objective. But these women are being very open, very truthful, and very objective, and this is extremely rare, which is why I felt like I had to make this video. And they're talking about something that is very poignant, very current, very much related to everything we talk about in the Red Pill, how the Red Pill started, how feminism started, a huge crux of the problem, which is family life, which is marriage life. Should the woman work along with the man? Should the woman stay at home, or should the woman be the breadwinner? These are all very, very crucial questions for what's going on today. So with that said, we're going to jump right into it, and basically I'm going to be stopping it and breaking it down point by point. Let's get into it.
So Cosmo did an article, the magazine Cosmopolitan, and they interviewed a panel of 12 different women. They asked them a series of questions, and all these women provided for their man. And these were the most common responses that the women said about supporting their man. They said that they felt an actual power dynamic shift going from the man to the female as the power player. They said there was a high level of stress, that the men were constantly seeking assurance from their woman. Baby, is it okay? Are we okay? Okay? They said that was very unattractive. She started paying, and the more she started paying.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think the man is always concerned about if they're financially okay? Because that's really his role, and deep down he knows it. Men have to be breadwinners. Men are very concerned about how things are going to get paid because that's something that's instilled within man. How are we going to pay the rent? How are we going to pay the car bill? How are we going to pay the electric bill? How are we going to put food on the table? That's something that is very much environmentally, biologically, whatever word you want to use, it's just instilled in men. So if a man is the stay-at-home dad, or the guy who doesn't provide much, or he works but she provides more, or whatever, he's going to be concerned if she's the main breadwinner, if her name is on the lease, if she's paying the rent. He's going to be concerned because it's just inherent in his DNA, right? Whereas with a woman, right? Oh God, this is not working. Hold on a minute. But whereas with a woman, she sits back and lets the man pay for everything, right? She sits back and, basically takes the back seat. He pays for everything. She does it, right? And I need to fix something on my phone here because it's going to mess up in the future here. But she's the one doing everything, and he, of course he's going to be concerned about it. Of course he's going to be, hey, is this a problem? Are we going to be able to pay the rent? Because it's in him. And so if a woman is the one paying, the bills, that power dynamic is absolutely going to shift. Right, that power dynamic is absolutely going to shift, and she now has all the stress. She shoulders all the burden, whereas he takes the back seat. And if it was a man who was paying all the bills, the woman wouldn't even be concerned because it's not in her DNA. It's not in her DNA to be concerned How is the rent going to be paid? How is food going to be put on the table? Because she's the one looking to the man, and this is what women want, and that is ultimately in the female DNA, which is security. I'm secure in that my man is good. My man is, he's got the bills paid. That's what women really deep down want. Okay, and unfortunately, what feminism has done is it said you can do that too. You can do what a man can do because you're supposed to be in competition with men and all these lies, and so this cuts right to the core of the matter. The real problem is that women are being lied to by feminism, telling them that they're supposed to compete with men, that they're supposed to be equal with men, and this is where something that never had to get that far got taken that far. It could have just been like, yeah, you can vote and you have a voice and you have worth and you don't need to be a slave to a man, quote unquote. But we also admit that men and women are different and there's different roles. And within a man is the need to provide. Within a man is the want to take care of a family. And you can let a man do that. You can let him do that, and you can fulfill different roles, such as cooking him food, such as cleaning the house, such as taking care of the children. Now, if that's such a horrible thing to you, then fine, then go make your own money. You have the right to do that, and many women are doing that now. However, also many women are very unhappy doing that. So you see there's a catch-22. It's like their nature is like, hey, I just want to have no stress. I don't want to have to worry about bills. I want to be at home and just be a homemaker, whatever, and let my man take care of things. That's what their nature is saying, but their psychological programming through the modern feminist propaganda is telling them that that's slavery, that's so wrong. You see, so there's this big problem, and this is why so many modern women are so unhappy, and they're looking for all these different things in these different aspects to men to fulfill them, and it's never really fulfilling them, and which is why so many women are just on medication. So many women are out here miserable, right? This is why. So let's go on.
Somehow the dudes lost drive and got lazy. Interesting.
Yeah,
and
probably.
ultimately, the woman lost respect, and at the end, they ended the relationship with their man. So the concept of the woman being the provider in today's society, I think 4 out of 10 women in relationships are the breadwinners in relationships.
Correct. That's correct.
So we're dynamic. So rule number 1 of these 3 things that a man has to do in order to be a man, to be the provider.
Cha-ching.
Okay, or your woman is going to leave you.
Yeah.
Speaking of a woman who's looking for a provider, Natalia, let's play this clip. Do you want to play the whole thing?
This is
It's a minute long.
You want me to?
I'll play the whole thing, and then we'll do it we'll weigh in at the end.
Okay.
So here's a clip. Hold on.
Sorry.
Let's get this on the screen.
Yeah.
Deli, Andres, here's this girl.
And this is a pretty funny video with this girl, but it also, I wanted to mention here that if you listen to my channel, you'll know that I would say a large percentage of what I talk about is females' love, which is conditional. Females loving a man for what he can provide. Females loving a man only insofar as he conditionally ticks off the security and finance boxes in her list of needs, right? So I'm not deviating from that, even though I totally, absolutely believe that women want providers, and this is female nature. I'm not deviating from that, and you could be like, oh, well, you're just not accepting female nature, this, that, and the third. But that's my choice to make, It's not that I'm not accepting female nature, it's just that I don't like it. I don't like that your love for me is conditional on whether or not I provide resources for you. That to me is usury. That to me is shallow. And I don't care one way or the other whether you work. I don't, money to me is just a means to an end. Yeah, the rent's got to get paid. The bills have got to get paid. However that happens is whatever. That's up to God. That's up to my ability, or that's up to her ability, whatever. That's not the point. Love is something that is aside from that. If you mix love into that, then that just makes you a prostitute, and that's what I've always said. And again, I've never been able to reconcile this. This is something that, reconcile it in the sense that to me it just never added up. love is something separate from finances. In the sense that you could lose your job, you could lose your home, you could lose your money, but love is something that should transcend all that. Love is something that should always be there regardless of those things. Yes, you got to provide. Yes, you got to pay the rent. Yes, you got to put food on the table. But those things don't, if you take those things away and love folds, then your love is not real. Your love is not, right? So I've said that a million times, but it's just interesting to hear a woman admit it, because particularly with these modern women are, they believe, oh, I can do, that doesn't matter. And I've heard this from modern women too, that, oh, money doesn't matter, it's all about love. And usually those are the type of women who like are able to provide for themselves. Usually those are the type of women who are older, who have successful careers, were career oriented. But younger women who aren't able to provide for themselves, you can bet your boots that those women are looking for providers. And again, as I talk about on my channel a million times, I'm not interested in those type of women, and I'm not interested in career women necessarily either. It's you should take the whole thing out of it. You should take money out of the equation. Let's find love first, and then we'll worry about paying the rent. And for most people, it's the other way around. Let's pay the rent, and then let's have security, and let me show you what I can do for you financially, and then we will talk about love. And to me, that's backwards, because that's like buying a woman. And this is also, I believe, why so many women are out here selling themselves. This is why so many women are learning how to use makeup to their advantage, learning how to use their sexuality and their body to their advantage, because they're selling themselves in one way or another, whether it's for short-term goals, such as, oh, I need a guy to buy me dinner, I need a guy to pay my rent, I need a guy to help me with my loans, or whatever. All this stuff. A lot of women are out here low-key prostituting themselves. They might not be walking the street on a corner, but they're low-key getting money from men for favors or for attention. I mean, sugar daddy sites are a thing, right? So these women out here are selling themselves in one way or another for different things. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And a lot of times they might do cam girl websites on the low. They might do pornography on the low. They might do sugar daddy websites, discreet hookups on the low. A lot of women out here are getting money from men one way or another. And you look at something like with celebrities or basketball players or rock stars, and they literally have women on their roster, in the sense that like they will, if she's a gorgeous enough woman, they'll put her up in a home, pay her rent, in a certain city if they have that type of money. And then they'll just, like, you got a girl in Atlanta, you got a girl in St. Louis, you got a girl in New York, you got a girl in, Dallas, you got a girl over here in LA, whatever. If you're that rich, you will pay these women's rent, and you'll just kind of, pop in every once in a while. Oh yeah, I'm paying your rent. I'm popping in next week, and you might see 3 or 4 different women a week. If you got that type of money, now that type of money is rare. That's true, but that's not an uncommon thing for these women to kind of manipulate their way into guys' lives. And this is why you see all these like plastic bimbos, plastic like model quote unquote types on guys' yachts, older guys' yachts. This is why you see these women flocking towards basketball players and flocking towards rich guys, because women know which guys are making the money, and they know how to sell themselves sexually. And guys will simp, or guys will make the mistake to get them pregnant, like for instance Brittany Renner, right, with I think it might be actually no, I'm thinking of Lana Rhoades. Well, Brittany Renner too, but also Lana Rhoades. They both got pregnant from NBA players, right? These guys are sliding into DMs, porn stars, etc. So there's a lot of seedy stuff that goes on, and can come out of that whole like, oh, you need to have money first and security. So that's why I talk against it. It's like love is something that should be separate from that, because if you conflate and mix love with money, then she's going to be selling herself, and you're going to be buying her in one way or another. And it's like, whether you got a home to offer her and she lives in an apartment and it's a step up for her to come into your home, or like, because it's very rarely the other way around. You heard him say, he said these marriages are ending because women don't want to make more money than their men. Women don't want to provide for a man. It's a big turnoff, and the guys get lazy, whatever. Maybe that's the case, but honestly, at the end of the day, freaking, it's not attractive for her to make more money than you, and this is just biology, whatever you want to call it. And of course, again, I don't. I personally don't want everything to do with that, but a lot of men are like, hey, that's my role. I want to provide for a family. I want to take care. And now I got women out here competing with me. That's not right. So let's go on and hear what this woman says, and then we'll hear what these great women say afterwards. And I really appreciate these women.
If we can widen the screen, here's a woman. Let me tee this up. Here's a woman who clearly is looking for a provider in her life. This is via our friend Red Pill Ricky. Go ahead.
Working is not a compliment.
But no, I'm just saying that even as a housewife, you have to work.
I work so I can buy shit, and that's it.
Oh my God.
That's the only reason why I work.
Okay, but that's the reason everybody works, so they can buy shit. Why are you driving a truck right now instead of working for your husband and being a wife?
My mom didn't do her motherfucking job and create generational wealth for me, so now I gotta work.
I can understand that, but that's not your mother's job. It's your job to go out and create a life for yourself. You fell for the same trick everyone else.
Generational wealth. That's funny. My mom didn't work hard enough for me to create generational wealth. I mean, that's a millennial wish, and at times I wished it too. I wish my parents were rich so I didn't have to go out here and do all this. I wish I didn't have to worry about it because but it's not reality. It's just not life. People, that's not the way the world's set up. Very few people. I think they call it the 1%, meaning 1% of people have generational wealth, or 1% of people are rich, or whatever. That's, I mean, some people get lucky, but that's not a reality, man. That's not a reality. It's like, and this is why the gender role thing is such a problem, because particularly in our generation, millennials and in Gen Z, Gen X, not Gen X so much, but millennials and Gen Z, it's hard for us because, first of all, the jobs that are available out here are crap, and they pay crap, and you can't buy a home anymore. You can barely rent an apartment anymore. It's really bad, man, and it's not like the 1950s, and that's part and parcel of what happened with women joining the workforce. All that all that civil rights stuff that was in the 1960s led to the two-parent income, the two-parent household, or excuse me, the two-income household, where both parents were working full-time jobs and making money. And that's a lonely family. That's a lonely life. Most men don't make enough money. I say most men don't make enough money, but a lot of times in today's day and age, men are not making enough money and the woman has to go to work. And that's just part and parcel of women joining the workforce. That's a problem. That's what happened. It used to be different. It used to be you could go out and get a job. You didn't even need a college degree. You could go out and get, if you were willing and able to work full time. And this is why you have these out of touch boomers who are like, the boomer generation, who are like, oh, just work hard. And then, in my opinion, Gen X is the lost generation. Gen X is a lost generation. And millennials are a little bit smarter than Gen X in some ways. But Gen X is like this middle child generation where they still have a lot of the boomer ideals: work hard, be creative, go out and conquer the earth. But the economy's not the same. The government's not the same. The culture's not the same as it was with their parents, who are the boomers, who, they were able to go out and get a job. They were able to go out and get a regular old job, didn't need a college degree, and they could afford a 2-bedroom house, 1-car garage, whatever, right? A nice little living. That is becoming more and more rare. Even with college degrees, people are struggling to pay rent. It's a different economy. It's a different world. So, there you go. It's a different thing, man. And so these millennials, we grew up off Paris Hilton. We grew up off of, you know, seeing all these celebrities who are rich and living this lavish lifestyle and shoving it all in our face, and we wanted that. And that's my generation, is the generation that I want to be rich and famous. I don't want to go work. I don't even have that desire. Gen X had that desire, but they didn't have the environment, and so many of them are lost. Many of them ended up just a lost generation, and millennials, a lot of us are lost too, but we have that desire. Oh, I want to be rich. I don't want to work hard. I want to work smart. I don't want to work hard. I want to have this lucky talent that makes me rich. And some people reach that, but most people don't. And it's just, working sucks, particularly when you ain't getting nothing. You can go out here and work your ass off, and this is why people who say, oh, hard work is the answer to everything, like Jordan Peterson, just work harder. It's like, it's such a dumb concept, because you can go out here and work your ass off 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still barely be able to put food on the table, because that's how crazy rent is. That's how crazy this stuff is. I mean, our economy, our government ain't fixing nothing. Our government is not helping people. I mean, aside from maybe giving them a couple $100 in food stamps, maybe some assistance with, you know, their light bill or whatever. They're not helping people. The housing prices are insane. You know, inflation, food prices are going up. They're not helping people. Minimum wage is barely going up in only the liberal cities, and even then, it's not even the right, correct inflation rate. It should be like $26 an hour. It's not. It's 15, right? I mean, government is just a joke. This is why so many people are just falling out of touch with trusting their government, trusting their country, trusting the culture anymore. People are lost. This is why people are jumping onto somebody like Donald Trump, who's a total grifter, total profiteer, because he's coming out here like, oh, you know, drain the swamp, change the government, and the government doesn't want to be changed. It's corrupted. Look at how they reacted to Donald Trump, who's one of them, by the way. He's just a grifter. He's a profiteer. And the swamp attacked him, the media attacked him, because he was exposing them, and that was his little trick that he did to get into office. But when he got into office, what did he do? He didn't do nothing. I mean, he might have, quote unquote, created more jobs, but did he raise the wages? Did he lower housing prices? Why are we not talking about that? What about the wages being lowered? Or excuse me, the wages being raised and the housing prices being lowered? How about lower the cost of living? But instead, they have you focus on something that you think is progressive or you think is productive. Like, oh, there's more jobs. Okay, but does that get to the core of the problem? The core of the problem is the rent is too high. The cost of living is too high. People are slaves to their job. They're slaves to their environment, and they're slaves to a dying economy. And that's, you know, okay, you got more jobs, but so what? So now you got more slaves? It's the dumbest thing, and nobody's. Hey, wait a minute, you know, the emperor's new clothes. Hey, that guy's naked. Wait a minute, that guy's not actually speaking the truth. And people are saying that. People don't trust the guy. And people have left the plantation and figured out ways to survive otherwise. But for the average Joe, the average guy who's supposed to live in a country that cares for him, it's becoming increasingly more and more crappy. So it's not viable. And so now here you have women out here who are doing what men are supposed to do, and they're hating it. They're like, I'm not getting any benefit. This is why, of course, a woman's going to do porn. Of course, she's going to have an OnlyFans. Of course, she's going to be a cam girl. Of course, she's going to be on a sugar daddy website. Of course, she's going to have discreet hookups off Twitter and make money from these simps and make money from selling herself online in one way or the other. Of course, she's going to do that because she's not making enough money. She's not getting anything. She's barely paying rent. And that's what men are going through. And women are like, geez, there's no viable men out here. Men are not economically attractive. Well, that has a lot to do with our economy, and that's the matrix. Okay, let's go on.
Falls for to be an independent woman and go out here and work instead of being a wife and working for your husband. That's what you should have done.
Stop being fucking rude. Stop being rude. Stop it.
Okay.
Look at this woman. Is she any kind of catch for a man? She's crying on TikTok or crying on whatever social media platform she's uploading this video to, which is embarrassing, by the way. Not only that, she's got her tits out. I don't think she's wearing a bra. right? So she's selling herself in the midst of crying about her situation, claiming that she wants a man, and in this frantic, manic rant, which is just embarrassing. I mean, what man in his right mind would want to be with a loud, obnoxious, frantic, ranting woman? And she's got her tits out, so it's like, that's just red flags galore. At least 4 or 5 red flags there.
Look, I'm not trying to be rude, but what is wrong with you right now?
I gotta cook. I gotta clean. I gotta work. I gotta do my own hair. Jesus, where is the end?
I'll come get you, but you gotta calm down.
Please come get me. I don't want to work. I'm tired.
I can't believe I've already lost 18 pounds.
That's disgusting, man.
Amazing.
I've lost 10 pounds.
That's horrible.
Come get me. I don't want to work. I'm tired.
That's horrible, man. There's nothing attractive about that in the least. She's not a bad-looking woman. She's got it looks like a nice body, and that's probably a major part of her problem. Is she's like, why am I single? I've got these great assets. I've got these great pair of tits, and I've got a nice ass, and I'm young and I'm youthful. Why? How come I have to work for myself? Where's the man that's going to take care of me? Because these young women today, they think that all they need to get everything they want in life is a good pair of tits and a nice ass, because they I know what men want, I have the key. Like, that's so dumb. Like, don't you realize that men are smart? Most men are smart. Yeah, there's some simps out here. There's some simps that will marry a woman just because of her ass and her titties, and because she has a youthful vibe, and they'll put up with her bullshit. But these guys are not quality men. These guys are really just simpy, weak men. Anybody who would marry a woman just because she's got a nice body, or she's young or whatever, and even guys who, who have a lot of money and that's what they want, I think even that's dumb. You want a woman with a good head on her shoulders. You want a woman with a good character. You want a woman with morals. You want a woman who has goals and hobbies and plans and enjoys things and has a good soul and a personality and a good heart, and she's kind and she's loving. Those are all like these intangible qualities that men are just overlooking, and they're like, oh, she's got a great pair of tits, she's got a nice ass, I'll marry her. I've heard guys say crazy dumb things like that, like hot women or whatever, like, oh, she's so gorgeous, I'd marry her in a heartbeat. I'm like, you've never even heard this woman talk. You've just seen pictures of her. That's insane. That's insane to me. Like, no, you need to vet a woman. You need to check her out. You need to, make sure that she's got a good head on her shoulders, a good heart in her chest, that she's got a good character about her. She's got a good personality. Is she bringing something more to the table than just a nice pair of tits? This is the insanity, and this is why there's women out here who are literally having breakdowns like this woman on video, freaking out. And she's got a great pair of tits, and she's got a great ass, I'm sure, and she's youthful and young looking, and that's why she thinks that she deserves a man. That's why she thinks that she deserves riches and a nice life, because she really does think that, oh, this is what men want. This is what matters. This is what it all is about. Me selling sex. And unfortunately, it works in a lot of cases. That's the crazy part of it. Is the irony is that it does actually work a lot of times. Not all the time. Sometimes. And these women are like, why not me? Oh, I see these other women who are getting paid for their sex, and they watch the videos. They watch the the MTV videos or whatever with these video vixens, these dancer girls in the music videos, and they think, oh, I got tits just as nice as her, why can't I get my rent paid? And then they have these breakdowns because they realize it ain't working. They don't, whatever they're doing ain't working. Whatever they're selling, men don't want. Or men are smart. Men are getting smart. Not all men are simps. Not all men are weak beta providers. Not all men. We're smart. We can get the milk for free somewhere else. Why would we need to buy the whole cow? And she's just mad because she can't find a guy to manipulate to pay all her stuff. And is that a quality relationship even if she did? You marry a man for his money? Is that a quality relationship? Is that based on love? And again, that's what I say on my channel all the time. That's my whole point. You find a man who will pay for your rent, who will buy you everything so you don't have to work. Is that really love? I would say no. A lot of times these people are not fulfilled.
God. How many women do you think low-key They're not verbally saying it, but feel that. How many women are like, I don't want to work, come get me, husband? What do you think, Linda?
I think like 90% of them, and there's
90% of women
I
think like
a
that.
lot of them.
I agree with that. I agree. I think that, you know, let's take the male-female dynamic out of the picture. Let's just say, you know, from a human perspective, would you choose to go work and you know, bust your butt at a job you either don't like or barely are able to tolerate? Now, it's one thing if you find a career that you love. I love my career. I'm so happy and fulfilled in my career, and it pays well. Great. I got a great life. But how many people does that work out for? I think I read when I was younger, I think I read that like 3%, maybe even less, maybe less than that. It might be from like 5% to 1%. I don't think it's as high as 10%. I think it's 3 to 5% of all people find a fulfilling job that they love in their life. Most people, 95% of people, are working a job just to pay their rent, just to put food on the table. 95% of people are working a job that they either don't like or they tolerate for the money. That's it. So I think that from a human perspective, most people would be, so she's right, 90% of women do not want to work. 90% of women do not want to. It just stands to reason. If you do not love your career, if you are not highly fulfilled in your career, you do not want to work. It doesn't make sense. Unless there's something fulfilling like, oh, I like to work because I like the feeling that I get when, you know, I'm paying the bills. It makes me feel accomplished or something, but I don't think so. I think most people just would choose not to. It's human nature. If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't. If I didn't have to go work, I wouldn't do it. Most people, particularly women, because I think it's already instilled in them to find a provider, which is what she's saying.
You know, there's a trend on TikTok right now for the TikTokers of girls driving to their corporate job. You can tell they're like, you know, younger, maybe like in their 20s, 30s, and they're like crying, right? So they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm tired of this. I just want to be soft. And like, this is terrible. And so, and I've seen a couple of those. And when
she's 100% right. There's all these videos out there of these women who are crying and whining because they don't like being a man. They don't like doing what men do. And TikTok allows them to do that. And they're just dumping, you know, TikTok and social media is like modern day therapy. They're like, hey, I want the world to change, and I want to dump all my problems out there so somebody can come change my life. So I'm going to do it on TikTok. I think in the back of their mind, these women are thinking like, someone's maybe going to see this video and come save me, right? And that's why they're crying, and that's why the women make these videos, and it's hilarious. And so we live in this unprecedented time where like, and as I said before, women are most powerful when they're being subtle. Women are most powerful when they are not telling the truth about how they really feel, about what they're really trying to do. Don't give up the game, but they give up the game because they can't not give up the game because men are learning the game. This is what the red pill has done. It's freed up men from the BS. Men understand now. Men know better now. So we're able to read them like a book. We know their motivations. We know what they really want. And so they really don't have much benefit. I think that's what's happening. And they really don't have much benefit anymore to be subtle. And it's not working because it's a game. And even it's a game from their end because you're not hot enough. Only the hottest of women are the ones who are really able to manipulate men for money. And women are selling themselves, but a lot of times they don't know how to sell themselves, or they don't have a good personality. And you know, it's also part of human nature to, if you're going to lie and you're going to manipulate somebody, there's something that within you that doesn't want to lie and manipulate. So maybe there's women out here who don't want to live that fake plastic life, and they're sad. And they're sad because they do want a husband who they love and who pays their bills, and they can just sit back and have a soft life, like she said. But in reality, they're not able to sell themselves because maybe even they're not that manipulative. Maybe they're not that fake, and some women are that fake. And I say kudos to them if they're not that fake, but they're still in a conundrum. They're still in a conundrum because they still can't find the man to come provide for them. But of course they'll do anything but actually change. Of course they'll do anything but actually try to, figure out what men really want. Oh, how do I really actually, be a good woman to a man? How do I treat a man well? How do I endear myself to a man? How do I really genuinely figure out how to love a man? And then as a byproduct, I get what I want, which is security. But is that really, that might really be the only motivation, is the security. So you're manipulating in one way or another, but I say either way, you should treat a man kindly, you should treat a man well, either way. And again, as I said before, it shouldn't be about money. Money should be secondary, love should be first, and then you're going to have a quality, you should have a quality relationship. But what we might see, and I, it would be unprecedented if we saw this, but what we might see is a mass metamorphosis of female purpose. Females might, as a whole, I hate to say as a whole, but because of, certain environments create certain reactions. So if men are waking up, taking the red pill, no longer giving women what they want, which is the money and the security, and we're figuring out the game, what women might do is metamorphosize, transform themselves into something. And I've said this before, is like, oh no, they're just doubling down and they're becoming more manipulative and more shady. Maybe. But there might be a breaking point where they just roll it all back, the wave rolls back, and they might actually transform and metamorphosize into something that's quality, into something that is something like, resembles accountability. Maybe. And a higher purpose. Maybe. I'm not saying for sure, because I do believe it's female nature to live vicariously through a man's success, through a man's providership. I do believe that's female nature. But if, nature versus nurture, that whole psychology dilemma, does nature shape the behavior of a living being, or does nature? They both do, but what is more? What shapes it more? If the environment becomes such that they will have to change their behavior, they will have to change their motivations, etc., we could see a transformation. We could see something different. We could see women, doing something unprecedented. I don't know what that would be. Maybe somehow fixing things within the government. Of course, that'll probably never happen, because government is just, by nature, it's corrupt. But we might see women figuring something else out. I don't know. We might see women just kind of transforming into something better. Maybe they'll transform into something better. Maybe they'll go against their nature. Maybe they will. And that would mean they might not even care about money anymore. Wouldn't that be amazing? If people just stopped caring about money and were just like, hey, we care about love. I mean, I think at a certain point, that's what the 70s was about, the free love generation. It was part of that movement. Of course, all the other things that would happen with that movement too, the sexuality rise and et cetera, that all was part of the movement. But a part of that movement in the 70s was just love. It was about loving people and just not caring about material possessions and and enjoying nature, enjoying the earth, seeking after a higher purpose, things that were not about corporate America, things that were not about finances, etc. That could happen, but we'll see. But let's go on. And she makes a great point. Yes, most women, they don't want to work, and it's easier to just stay at home.
Ali was here last week with us on the show, on my podcast. We talked about it because I was in corporate before, and I hated it. And I say it now, and I say that just women don't belong in corporate. And people get mad, and I get hate for it. But the reality is that there's, you start cheating, there's cheating going on, especially if you're obviously mixing genders, which most jobs do. We talked about it earlier as well. They use women for sales because of their sexuality, because they look good, and then, more situations happen. So I think most women, giving the situation, if their man was, high value and said, stay home, I'll be the provider. All you have to do is cook, clean, take care of the kids, they'll be happy.
I disagree with that 1,000%.
You know?
You do
I
disagree with
disagree
what
with
Linda's
her.
saying?
Yeah, I like you though, Linda.
Thank you. But the
Yeah.
last
Why do
thing
you
that I will
disagree with
say,
it? Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, the last thing that I will say is that in my girlfriends, right, the ones that are that let the man take care of the bills and everything and stay home with the kids, they're a lot less stressed and happier than the other ones that I know who have to work because they just simply like it like you said, like people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely, and of course, that's exactly what I just said. Exactly what I was just talking about. Of course, you're less stressed. Of course, and which blows that whole theory of the mom, the stay-at-home mom, she's the most. Being a mother is the hardest job in the world. Are you serious? Which is such a lie, right? And this is why again, that's part of the lie. Oh, it's so hard being a mom, so don't act like I'm just being lazy at home. Glances around, looks around, like, no, of course it's an easy job. Of course, she just has very little stress to raise kids. They go off to school at age 5 for half the day, and then at age 8 or 9 they go off for like 3/4 of the day, or most of the day. They're at school at 9 a.m. and they're out of school at 3 p.m. or 3:30 p.m. That's like your whole day almost. Like, you just get to chill and sip wine and watch daytime talk shows and like sleep or what. Like, that's not a hard job, man. Sorry to say. Yeah, it's less stress.
Yeah.
And they're stressed out and they're like, I just got out of work and I have to pick up my kid and then I have to do this and then I have to do that. It's like they never get a break.
Yeah, you should not have to work and raise a kid at the same time. It was never meant to be that. This is the lie of modern feminism. This is the lie that they told women. Oh, you can join the workforce. Yeah, haha, rubs hands vigorously. Like, this is the evil social conditioning, man. This is that's the matrix. They want to break up families. They want to pit men and women against each other. They want to turn women into men, feminize men, and turn and make women masculine, and that's a problem. Yes, you're stressed out. You don't have time to raise kids, and then there's this motherly instinct that's like, gosh, I want to have kids. I want to raise something, and that's not being fulfilled while you're working for a boss, and then your boss becomes your husband, kind of. Your boss becomes your, it's like, what's funny is that there's this meme that's like, oh, you don't want to submit to a husband, but you'll submit to your boss. It totally makes, like, right? You wouldn't submit to your husband, but you're going to submit to your boss at work. And if you step out of line, you might get fired, or you might get demoted, or have a pay cut, or whatever. I mean, men have to do it. Men have to kowtow to their boss and the company owner, etc. And now you do, and now women are doing that. Now you know what it's like to be a man. All the stress, all the pressure, the whole entire family, the whole household is on your shoulders. Women don't like that. Of course they're breaking down. Of course they're crying. They don't like that.
We're exhausted.
I mean, look at that.
Yes, they're exhausted. It's not fun being a man. Which is why men need quality women. Which is why men are so dejected and sad and depressed in today's society, because we're supposed to have a woman to be at home to help us. That's the whole point. That's what God said in Genesis. He said, woman is your counterpart. Woman is your helpmeet. He used that word helpmeet. What does that mean? It means you need a helper. You need somebody to help you in life. And if you don't have that, if your helper is your competitor, oh boy. I mean, why is life worth living? A lot of men are just checking out. Right? They're just disconnecting. So, yeah, man, it's not the same for, working is not the same for a woman than it is for a man. Men are supposed to do it. Men are supposed to, provide, and a woman is supposed to be his stress relief when he gets home. She's supposed to take care of him physically, with his food, and with intimacy, with love, hug, sex. And then what does he do? He provides. And what does she do? She takes care of the kids for the most part. And then he comes home and he gives He gives fatherly advice. He's a guide to his children. He's a mentor to his children. And the woman is a nurturer to the children. So the way it's supposed to be. So God intended, but the devil through modern feminism has come around and, oh no, women can do the exact same thing men can do, and then women are breaking down, men are breaking. It's killing the system with this whole lie that. And let's say women are equal to men. Okay, classical feminism was correct. Women are equal to men. Great, but does that mean they're supposed to have the same roles? You see the lie, you see the deception there. Oh, does that mean that we're supposed to compete against each other, or should we live in harmony with each other, recognizing we have different strengths and roles, and complementing each other and helping each other? Are we doing that? No, because that's not what modern feminism has raised these young women to be. When they go off to the universities, these radical feminist weirdo professors, female professors who indoctrinate these young female minds against men. What a horrible, sick thing. Parents, be careful what university you're sending your child off to. If a university at all, maybe send them to a trade school. Your daughters, seriously, because they're getting poisoned at these universities. And some women are it's ruining their lives. Makes women miserable. Feminism makes women miserable, and it damages, hurts men, hurts families, hurts marriages, hurts children. So bad, so insidious.
How exhausted and stressed out.
Literally,
does that
you're
make
like
you?
terrible.
Come get me. Janelle, why do you disagree with Linda?
I
Because I thought that
disagree.
you would fully agree with what she had to say.
because of what she said at the very end.
What was that?
Women today like stress. You know why? Because they're men. Men love stress. It's cortisol. They want to do better. They want to climb to the top of the ladder. They want to be the one. You guys don't get affirmation ever. You have to prove yourself. You have to be the best and the best, have the biggest body, the biggest dick, the biggest credit card, and still be emotional and tell your girl she looks great, but you have to be able to protect your family and kill someone if they come in. So that's the amount of stressing. And you have to get an erection. You have to not be stressed out to get an erection.
Bingo. This woman just nailed it. She nailed it. How often is there a woman who totally gets it like this? Like these women do. How often? It's very rare, isn't it? As I said earlier, women benefit from being manipulative. These women are being transparent. These women are being truthful and open. How rare is that? Extremely rare. She totally gets it. She's nailing everything. Men have to do everything. We have to provide. We have to be emotional with our women and keep our women's attraction. We have to be 6 foot tall. We have to have a 6-inch member. We have to have a 6-pack abs. We have to make 6 figures. We have to have a house. We have to have a nice car. We have to have nice clothes. We have to smell nice. We have to have good hygiene. We have to have good game. We have to learn how to talk romantically to a woman. We have to do everything. And what do women have to do? Oh, I got big boobs. That's it. That's all they got to do. And then people wonder why men are walking away. Why men are like, hey, that ain't a good deal for me. That ain't worth it. You want me to work hard? You want me to work hard for something that I got to compete, that I'm probably genetically not even born with? I'm not even genetically gifted enough to compete with these other guys. And you want me to work super hard to get a woman who doesn't have to do anything, and all she has to do is have big boobs and be relatively attractive? That's all she has to do? And I got to work my whole life just to hopefully get a date with this woman, and hopefully she'll like me and not be manipulating me and not use me for my money or take me to divorce court? Of course men are walking away. Of course. It's not a good deal. It's not a good deal. It's horrible. It is a bad, bad deal. It's a bad environment. 50% of marriages end in divorce. If 50% of parachutes didn't open, would you ever skydive? You would never skydive if 50% of parachutes didn't open. You would never do it. Why would you get into a marriage if 50%? She could take all your money. She could take your life's work, your life's earnings. It doesn't make sense. It's a bad deal. And 85% of marriages are 85% of divorces are initiated by women. 85%. Hello. It's not a viable option for the average man. It's not. It's a come up for a woman. It's a manipulation tactic. Here are women who are telling the truth. This is what men are going through. This is why men are checking out of the dating market. This is why men are voluntarily saying, nope, I want nothing to do with that. Men are already suffering. We're already depressed. We're already lonely. So why should we work super hard for a bad deal? It does not make sense. Yes, I want people to be married. Yes, I want people to be happily in love. Yes, I want people to have nice families. Yes, I want people to have quality children, because that's the future of our generation, the future of our human race. But until things change, guys, I couldn't advise it. Don't do it. You know, probably in most cases, unless you're really absolutely sure that this is the one. And even then, it's just crazy. It's crazy how much people divorce. It's crazy how much men are getting hurt and being manipulated and being cheated on and just checking out. Men are checking out. They're committing unlive, right? In mass numbers. This is not a theory. This is a statistic. And many times it's because their woman cheated on them, or their woman left them, or their woman was this, that. Because men love women, and we need a woman, and we just can't. Why can't we just get a quality woman? Why is that so hard? Because the devil's real. Because the system, the matrix, is manipulating people. It's damaging people. Everything I talk about on this channel this is what's going on, man. In the West, it's all messed up. What does a man need? He needs a quality wife. He needs a quality woman in his life to help him with the stresses of life. He doesn't need competition. He doesn't need a competitor in his household. He doesn't need an anchor holding him down. He doesn't need a ball and chain that he regrets being around. He regrets marrying or whatever. He needs a woman who's going to love him, a woman who's going to support him, treat him kindly, build him up, be a quality positive enhancement to his life. And what do we have? We've got to jump through all the hoops. We've got to take care of everything. We've got to do everything. And if not, then we're weak men. We're losers. We're this, that, and the third. And it's sick.
I know that's not a problem.
Okay, that's not a problem. So the bottom line is, I don't think that that's most women. I think that is a lot of women, but not most.
Okay.
Because women don't want to submit. They don't want to surrender.
Yep.
They don't want to make a sandwich, let alone cook a freaking pasta dish.
Like a real...
They don't want to clean. They don't want to... Women, even when they have children today, women are... And I am hating on these women. I'm sorry.
They don't want to be women anymore. And there's something within a woman that wants to submit to a high value man. I think women like submitting. It's just that they're taught not to. And of course, you know, if you listen to my channel, you'll hear me say that I don't need a woman to submit to me. That's never been I'm not that type of personality. And I think a lot of guys today are not that type of person. We don't care about any power dynamic or any kind of control dynamic, which is why the whole concept of the patriarchy is it's either outdated or it's a lie from the beginning. And I think it's more towards a lie to the beginning. Yes, I think that men in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and before were probably stronger personalities and probably were more strict and controlling of their household, but they had a right to be, you know, because they were the breadwinners. Now, there's a fine line there. It's like you don't want to cross that line into abuse, and you don't want to cross that line into force, because that's a place you don't want to be as a man, but which can easily go into that. But if it's your household, if you're the provider, if you're the owner, if you're the breadwinner, you have a lot of authority. I hate to use that word. It's a hard word, but you have a lot of authority in the household. That doesn't mean you have absolute power. That doesn't mean you're a dictator. That doesn't mean you're a tyrant. and people should submit to your will. It just means that, hey, this is my house. I paid for it. You're living under my providership. To whatever extent, I'm kind of your benefactor. I'm kind of your authority. It doesn't mean that you jump when I say jump and how high. And now a lot of men took that too far, and that's a problem. But I wouldn't call that quote unquote patriarchy per se. I think that that's just what they want to call the patriarchy is just men creating a strong world. It's just men creating a world that you know, functioned and was successful, and men did that, and women helped. Yes, women helped, but mostly men did that. Okay, women didn't create roads and city planners and parliament and government and how things function. They played a role, and I'm not saying women aren't capable of that per se. There's some very capable, intelligent women, but as a whole, it's not necessarily their role. And this is where we get back into roles and identity of function. What is your identity of function? What do you do? What you know? And for the most part, men have been providers, and deep down, women want to submit to a strong male provider. And as much as you can propagandize and influence with modern feminist lore and ideology, right? Deep down, women are like, hey, I want to submit, you know? And this is why so many women are miserable. This is why so many women are making videos in their car, because they're like, well, I didn't want to submit because feminism told me I didn't want to, and I really don't want to submit, but also I don't want to be a man. So they're caught between this. It's like, hey, man, you know, and you know, and again, and I've said this before on my channel, I don't care about submission from a woman. I just want to help her. I just want a partner. I don't know if we would technically call it 50-50 if I'm making all the money. If I'm pulling, you know, I wouldn't be 50-50, but you play your part, I play my part. You help me succeed. You help me provide for us. Yes, I'm the one who's bearing the shoulder of the stress. Yes, I'm the one who's bearing the shoulder of the responsibility, and you help me do that. You're a helpmeet to me, which is what God said in the book of Genesis. Woman is going to be a helpmeet to man. The pressure and stress is on man's shoulders, not the woman. She's just helping him. She's not tearing him down. She's not in competition with him. She's not criticizing him. She's not pushing him to do better so that she can live a better lifestyle, whatever. She is just making things better. She's becoming creative in the kitchen. She's becoming creative in the interior design. She's making sure the rug is clean. She's making sure that all the clothes are washed. She's making sure that, you know, she's setting appointments for certain things. Why? Because he's already stressed the heck out 8 hours a day at work, doing his job, doing the thing he's assigned to do, and yet he's got to do all that. He's got to come home and clean too. He's got to come home and cook the meals too. He's got to come home and set the appointments for the car to be fixed and all these other things. She can't help with any of that stuff. That's not a quality woman. That's not helping him. And on top of that, if you don't keep her attracted and make her feel romantic at all times, she might divorce you and take your money. That doesn't make sense. That's a problem.
The best thing for your child is to have your child vaginally. Yeah. Women are scheduling cesareans. Mm-hmm. They are not breastfeeding their children. I fed my son till he was 7. Not all the time, but till he was 7. My son is so...
That's definitely weird. I don't know. Maybe that's a common thing somewhere. I don't know. I've never heard of that. That's just weird. But anyway, that's a weird thing.
Emotionally astute. It's crazy.
And they don't want to look good either. It's really weird.
And so you talk about women don't want to do the hard. I'm going to say it's hard. I'm not going to say, oh, it's easy having my kid natural without drugs and selflessly having a child hang from my boobs for freaking almost a decade. Like, that is selfless. Women are selfish today. They want to
Correct.
have the biggest ass with the biggest lips, the longest weave, make all the money, buy their Louboutins, buy their Chanel, and then get a man to kiss their ass.
Correct.
Yep.
They don't want to be a housewife. No freaking way.
Correct.
Yeah,
No way.
This is clearly
She's right.
becoming more
I
and
know I'm
more of
right.
a problem in society.
I just threw the number out there because
No,
I'm like,
I know
I'm
what
just
you're
saying,
saying.
but I agree with her.
So
Yeah.
you just went from 90% of women
Yeah.
want to be taken care of, and now
Right.
that after her examples, what do you think the actual number is?
It's so
Versus there's a
hard.
want and what you'll actually do.
It's still 90% deep down, and when I say taking care, well, of course, it's probably not 90% because a lot of these women they want their cake and eat it too. So they just want men to give them money. They just want a man to provide. Here's what a lot of these modern, horribly shallow women really want. It's, I want to be beautiful. I want to post pictures of myself being beautiful. And I don't ever want to talk to anybody. I don't ever want to interact with anybody. I don't ever want to see any guy in person, but I want guys to inbox me money just because I'm pretty. That's what women really want. Just that's what they want. They want to post pictures and guys to inbox them money. I'm not kidding. That's why Twitter and Instagram is so popular, because that's all they want. This is why OnlyFans is so popular. This is why cam girls and porn is so popular. They just want the simp bucks. They want men, the simpy, weak men, to simply just give them money. That's it. That's all they want. And then they want to post pictures or provocative videos or explicit material, whatever, and sit back and just reap the benefits. That's it. That's what women want. So when I say 90% of women want to be taken care of, what I mean is that people don't want to work. They don't want to go because that's stressful. It's hard. It's demeaning. It's hard on your body. It takes its toll on your looks. Stress is a killer of youth. It makes you old. It makes you not attractive. It causes you to gain weight. Cortisol, the stress hormone, wreaks havoc on your system. Your adrenals take a hit. You often don't have time or are unable to cook healthily for yourself, so you often end up eating bad food, which kills your health, kills your organs. It kills your attractive body. You lose your body, and women know this. They know this. Oh, I can't be going to work at some job where it's stressed. 8 hours a day? Are you kidding? There's no way. I would lose my looks. Of course women are freaking out. Of course women are having breakdowns. Of course women are trying to manipulate, and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what Janelle was basically saying.
Also, society.
They're saying this,
They're
but when it comes to
society
reality,
is encouraging it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to go with the collective conscious programming, television, media. Beyonce,
Yes.
we run the world. Cardi B, all these songs are like, I don't need no man.
Yes.
I don't need no. Everything is like, you don't need a man.
Yes.
They're literally pushing sperm banks. They're doing everything
Yes.
they can do. These giant dildos that fuck up women's yonis and make it impossible for them to orgasm, make it impossible for a man to have a fighting chance to make his woman orgasm.
Okay, so let me
Yes.
ask you this. Let's get to the heart of the matter.
Bingo. This woman nailed it on the head. Everything she said is what I've been saying on my channel from day one. Yes. It's cultural. It's in the entertainment. It's the music. It's an environment. And who's behind it? Satan. That's who's behind it. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's social engineering. It's psychological, emotional programming. It's poison. She just nailed it. 100%. Very, very surprised, pleasantly surprised in these women's honesty.
All right.
You went from 90% to holy shit, let me reverse course. Now it's
Yeah.
probably at 90% the other way. If most women are thinking like this, like saying one thing, come get me, I need a man. But in reality, they're like, no, I'm my
Actions
own
aren't
woman, I'm an
matching.
independent woman, everything you just said. How should men operate, and what should they say and or do to convince these women to be more traditional?
You can't. It's over. I don't think. Unless men, we do our speaking with our actions. We put our money where our mouth is and stop marrying these women. And I think that is happening. And they might be as I said a second ago, or 20 minutes ago or whatever, maybe there's going to be an awakening. Maybe there will be a change. Maybe these women will wake up and say, hey, this isn't working. Men don't want me anymore. Something is wrong with my behavior. I'm not kind enough. I'm not feminine enough. I'm not loving enough. These men don't want me anymore. I need to change something. Maybe. Or this will just lead to the end of the world, which is what I think. But anyway, maybe there will be a collective consciousness shift away from this crap, this garbage that they're following. This, I can just be pretty and be a porn star and sell myself and be rich and da-da-da-da. But I think Satan is making that work for too many young women. As I said it before, I've said this a million times on my channel. He puts a carrot in front of people's face and says, chase it. Like those old horses in the old horse and buggy days, they would put a carriage in the front of the horse's face to make the horse run to try to catch the carrot. And of course, he could never catch it because it was never the point for the horse to catch the carrot. It was the point was that the horse would just run and get the carriage from A to B destination. It's the same today. Satan puts a carrot in front of these people's faces in order to distract them away from God, distract them away from righteousness, distract them away from a wholesome, traditional, moral life. Oh yes, you can be rich someday. Work your whole life. You can be rich. You can drive a Bugatti like Andrew Tate. He creates these successful people, and he puts them in place so that people will follow. So that people will. They don't call them idols for they call them idols. They don't call them that for no reason. It's idolatry. It's a substitute for God. It's a manipulation. Idols are a deterrent away from the correct path. That's why idolatry is so bad. That's why it's talked bad about in the Bible, because it's damaging. It's harmful. It's a substitute for the real thing. So Satan he props up these celebrities. He gives them success. He allows them to be successful. However that may happen, he empowers them somehow in their environment, physically, whatever. However he does it, it's supernatural, metaphysical. And people would be hard pressed to believe that. But it totally makes sense. Why is this person famous and not that person? Why did this person get all the breaks and not that person? Why did this person somehow get linked up with this record producer? I've met people who are just amazing singers, amazingly talented artists, and they get no recognition because they haven't had their big break or their lucky break. They're right, because some people are chosen and some people are not. It's all a game. It's not a meritocracy necessarily. Yes, you have to have talent. That's true. There has to be something about you that's appealing. You have to be the meat, so to speak, for the camera. But it's still a choice. You think that there wasn't a million Brad Pitts, a million good-looking dudes who could act? Why was Brad Pitt chosen? Because the devil liked him. The devil was like, this guy is a guy who can propel my kingdom. He's a carrot in front of the face. Now all these other guys are going to be like, I want to be like Brad Pitt. And then they'll go out and forfeit their pursuit of God, forfeit their pursuit of righteousness, forfeit their pursuit of a family, or this, that, and the third, and try to be an actor, or try to be a model, or try to be a rapper, or try to be a sports star, or try to be an athlete, or try to be a musician, or try to be all this dream. Oh, the American dream. You can be anything you want to be. That's a huge lie. No, you can't. You have to have the type of skill. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And truthfully, you got to be in Satan's good graces. Because Satan is the one who puts these celebrities where they are. Satan is the one who does all this. So that people can be manipulated. So that people can waste their time. So that people can chase a dream that was never something that God wanted it to be for their life. And it's the same with these young modern women. Why do you think Beyonce is so popular? Why do you think Taylor Swift is so popular? Why do you think Britney Spears was so popular in her day? And now look at these stars. They're all aged and on drugs and damaged. And not all of them, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are. Sad to say. And really a lot of it is karma, because like I think Madonna and Britney Spears are probably the most messed up because of the karma that they've incurred. They really led entire generations of young women to be. They made it cool to be sluts. They made it cool and okay to be promiscuous, and that's sad, and that's damaging. And they were used mightily by Satan. The carrot in front of the face. Oh, I can be like Britney Spears. I can be like Madonna. I can be like Beyonce. I can be like Taylor Swift. I can, exactly what she just said. And now you have a generation, even worse generation. Now they want to be like Cardi B. Now they want to be like Nicki Minaj. Even more gross and sexual. Right?
And because that will actually make them happier in the end. Not in the short term with their Louis Vuittons and shopping. What do you think?
I said, we're just hurt. Like, you know, as I was sitting here contemplating, you know, would I surrender, right, to a man? I had this realization, I've never had that option. That's never been a thing. I've had to survive my whole life. You know, like, even thinking about that, like, that scares me. Like, what do you mean? Like, I would trust somebody who would just take care of me? Because I've had so many...
That's very honest of you.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
I've never had that experience. So I've always had to survive and do my own, take care of myself, and, you know, make money. And I've had many times in my life crying and like, God, like, please come save me.
I don't know who this person is. I don't know how she makes her money. She just said God as if she believes in God. Okay, maybe. But even and she probably represents a lot of the younger generation that feels the same way as her. Is I'm disenfranchised. I gotta, you know, I'm not that type of person. I'm not gonna rely. I don't want to rely on a man. And there's some women like that. There's some women who have learned to have learned to work hard and have learned not to manipulate men. That's true.
I don't know how I'm going to pay for everything. My parents don't have money. I don't know how I'm going to take care of it. You know, to finally get to a place where we're actually starting to do well. You know. And
she also represents a general fear that a lot of young women are not talking about. My parents aren't rich. How am I going to, and do I want to rely on a man? Do I want to go get a man? And maybe I don't want to do that because that doesn't feel right. And that's probably a rare case, but it's like, I don't know if I'd say that's so rare. Maybe there's a lot of women out there like that. You know, and that's a point too, is that these women are disenfranchised just like the young men are disenfranchised. You know, because 100 years ago, these women would be like, well, I got to go find a man. I got to go get married because I can't work because that's not the type of society we live in. But now they can. And so it's like, and you can hear the kind of reality in her voice where she's like, I gotta do what a man does. I gotta go pay the rent. I gotta take care of business. You can hear that in her voice, and that's what's called responsibility. That's what's called reality. That's what that's called. It's called reality. And a lot of women are running from that today, and they're trying to run from it via a man's bank account, right?
Oh, and so now I'm like, I finally got this. Now I don't want to lose it because I worked so hard to get here.
They're all valid points. Everything you're saying is very valid and very honest, and I appreciate.
And that makes sense. It makes sense for a woman to be like, yeah, I don't want to get married because I worked. I don't want to rely on a man's income because I worked hard to get to where I'm at, and that makes sense. And she's right. That's valid, and that's totally honest, and that's fine. That's part of the problem. Is should she have to give that up? Does she not want to give that up? Is it going to be a problem? But I guarantee you, she would never want to be a breadwinner in a relationship. I guarantee you, she would never want to take care of a man. Women are not that way, right? But men are. You see, so there is a discrepancy right there, an obvious difference that men are different than women. That men are totally okay with a woman not doing anything and totally providing for her and taking care of a family, whereas most women are not okay with that. They don't want a bummy man because it's not in their DNA.
That you're saying that, because I'm sure a lot of women feel that way, and maybe a lot of women haven't gone through trauma, but they've also been told by their dads, and society, like, you're a princess, you should be taken care of, this and that, you shouldn't have to lift a finger, this and that. And so
100%, I've said that a lot on my channel. 100%, a lot of the reason why women think that they're entitled to a man's money and they're entitled to a high value man to take care of them in a family relationship, marriage or whatever, and they feel they're entitled to a guy who makes $500K a year, or 100K, 200K, 300, 400, 500K a year, $1 million a year. They're entitled to that, and I use the word entitled specifically, is because their parents freaking puff them up. Their parents gas them up. Hey, you're worth it. You're my little princess. You better go find you a high earning man. I've said that on my channel from day one. Their parents and their friends are all gassing them up and like, you deserve a high earning man. Does she really? Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's not quality enough. Are they actually creating a woman who's a high quality woman to match the high quality man? Does she know how to treat a man? Does she know? Is she wise? Is she intelligent? Can she match his intellect? Can she match his skill set? Can she match his abilities, his competence in any way? Or is she just pretty? And this is where parents and society and friends and family have failed their daughters and sisters and siblings and family-in-laws or you know, their family. This is where they failed because they haven't actually produced a female worthy of those things. They've just told them they're worth it, which is the whole problem with the SJW culture. It's the whole problem with the you know, you're a winner just for participating type of culture. It's part of that. Oh, you're a woman, so you deserve it. You're pretty, and you're my sister, and you're my daughter, so you're worth it. You're a princess, just for existing. And yet they say the exact opposite to men. They say, oh, you're only worth it as long as you're a high earner and you have high value. You're only worthwhile as long as you're providing something. You're only worthwhile as long as you're making my daughter happy financially and giving her the lifestyle she needs and deserves. Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, you got society telling women that they don't have to do anything, that they're only good. And you got the family telling, you know, women that they don't have to do anything, that they're only good because they're existing and they're a female. I mean, that is such a disservice to that person. That's like, you know, it's just, it poisons. It's ruining that person. Oh, you're good just for existing. Imagine if men said that to each other. Of course not, because we know it's not like that. Men have to bring something to the table, and we will treat each other as such. Hey, what are you doing? You know, how are you pulling your weight? You know, it's crazy to me. That's a major discrepancy. This is why a lot of guys are checking out too. Oh, I got all this pressure on my shoulders. I got all this pressure on my back. And what do women do? They're playing life on recruit difficulty. It's easy for women. I have all this pressure and it's easy for women. It's not fair and it's not right. And men feel that way, that it's not fair and that it's not right. And they're checking out. This is why men are leaving the matrix. They're checking out of society. This is why they go to video games. This is why they live in a virtual world. This is why they don't leave the house. This is why they don't care about having friends, is because there's all this pressure put on them to provide and to be competent. And there's not a lot of love in that.
And when they get into these corporate jobs and they're making all this money, then a man comes along and you're supposed to say, like, I'm being devil's advocate here. Oh, okay, I'm going to drop this. So
Yeah.
I get it that
Totally
we're not
makes sense.
conditioning women to be submissive.
Yeah.
That's part of it. It's societal. Right.
By the way, thank you for being open. But let's stay on the actual question. What can a man say or do to earn that role?
Make her feel safe.
Make her feel safe.
Yeah.
Okay. And
How?
Which is just a full circle. It's like that's what you're supposed to do in the first place. It's a full circle. But what's happening is, by the time they get to that point where they're like, okay, yeah, I've gone out and I've done my career and I've worked and da 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 da, and I'm tired, but you know, I've risen to the challenge and no one gave me everything, blah blah blah, but I still want a man, blah blah blah. You still got to do that. It's not like, oh, well, you know, I got my career, so it's all good. I don't care about how much money you make. No, you still got to make as much money as her or more, probably more, because women are hypergamous and they're choosing up, right? And this is why so many women out there are like, hey, I can't find any financially attractive men or financially viable men. And then on the flip side, guys are like, hey, I can't find any virgins. I can't find any young women out here who want to marry me. They're all too busy, you know, hooking up at the bar. They're all too busy in hookup culture. They're all too busy, you know, wasting their 20s. They don't want to be mothers. They don't want to be quality wives. They just want to go be a hookup for some bad boy. And on top of that, they don't know how to treat men. They're walking around with an undeserved sense of self-accomplishment. They're walking around thinking they're God's gift, when in reality they're not even God's blessing at all, because they don't know how to treat a man. They're walking around thinking they're divas, thinking they're bad bitches or whatever they call themselves. Oh yeah, guys want to sleep with me, so I'm just, I'm a queen, right? Oh, you're a queen because of your gender, which is bigoted and just hypocritical and opposite of what they claim, right? For men, it's like, oh, well, you're a man. To men, they're all like, oh, we're all about equality. When it's something they want, it's all about equality, right? When they want something, it's like, oh, we should be equal. But then when it comes to like getting the special benefits, they're like, well, I'm a woman, which is so hypocritical.
Go deeper. How can he make you feel safe? Especially when you first start.
But again, like I said, it's in their 30s. It's when they hit 30 or when they hit 35, then they want to settle down. But in the 20s, they're competing with men. They're building their empire, just like men are supposed to be building their empire in their 20s. Women are out here chasing their career, chasing the bag, right? Trying to become a millionaire. And then when they hit 30 and they're making good money, then they want a man, but they still want that man to be a good provider. They still want that man to, and guess what else comes along with that? Oh, 15 years of promiscuity. Whatever results from that, however that has damaged their emotions, however that has damaged their psyche, however that has damaged their behavior, however that has damaged how they treat men, right? You got 10 to 15 years of hookups. Now it's not just, oh, I'm a career woman and I want a man who makes money, but you also got baggage, and you probably got a child from another man, because there's tons of single moms out there, right? So yeah, once they get knocked up and they're like, oh, this is too hard being a career woman and I got a child, then they want to settle down. But before that, it was, yeah, let me chase Chad, let me chase the bad boys, let me go hook up, let me go be nasty, let me go be a hoe, right? But then when that didn't work out, they got the STDs, or they got the STD, or they got the child from the guy who didn't want to raise it. Now reality sets in and they're like, all right, I need a man. Now that they got the baggage, then they need a man. Isn't that funny?
Dating. Because I think obviously we all admit, once you get married to a woman, like now the dynamics has changed. But to get to that point for a woman to submit and feel safe, it's a slow burn. Like, it doesn't just happen.
Financially safe, emotionally safe, spiritually safe, right? Like,
bam, notice how she said that. The first thing she said was financially. Then she said emotionally, and then she said spiritually. And that's just right off the top of her head, right from the horse's mouth. This is the prototype. This girl is the young working woman, and this is what the young working woman wants. Financial, emotional, and then spiritual. So I think she's a believer in God, but she didn't put spiritual first. She put money first. So even though this woman is out here, she maybe she prays, maybe she believes in God, but she's still putting finances first before anything else in a relationship. What does that tell you about female nature? What does that tell you about the nature of a relationship according to women? It's transactional. It's transactional. She's a product. She's productizing herself. I don't know if that's a word, but she's turning herself into a product. She's selling herself. Even if she believes in God, even if she believes in spirituality, she's selling herself. And she wants you to she wants that emotional connection. And they believe they're entitled to it. And if they don't get it, then they're just going to wait around until they get something resembling it or whatever. But you're making men jump through all these hoops that men don't want to jump through. You know, a lot of men don't want to jump through. I don't want to buy a woman. I don't want to have that burden of always, oh, I got to always be romantic. I got to beat out all these other guys who are trying to get with her. And she slept around a bunch, because all modern women are doing it. I don't care if they believe in God, they're still doing it. Even some of Some of the women who believe in God are more promiscuous in some cases, particularly, Catholics. But anyway, that's another story. But Catholic girls are freaks. But I mean freaks in the sense that they're very sexual, right? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I got to do all this crap. So this, would you? It's not a good deal, man. It's not a good deal for a guy to have to jump through all these hoops, and it's all conditional. It's all conditional. If you don't fulfill one of these conditions, see ya. She'll jump onto the next guy, and I guarantee she's sleeping with the guy because women want to know. Oh, has he got a big dick? Is he good in bed? I want to know that before I get into a relationship with the guy. So they're sleeping with the guy, and I've said this on my channel from day one. Women jump from guy to guy to guy. I don't care if they're in a relationship. That's just the temporary guy right now. They jump from guy to guy to guy. Women, and it's conditional. What did she say? Financial first, emotional second, spiritual third. That's what it is. That's correct, I believe.
Physically safe.
Physically safe.
Okay.
So I think financial
How do you convey
first.
safety?
There she goes, straight from the horse's mouth. Financial first. Straight from the horse's mouth.
To a woman in the first month of dating.
I'll give you some practical examples.
Yeah, go ahead.
And maybe the women here can judge.
And then I'll add it.
Now this is Sterling Cooper, who's an ex-porn star. So what is this guy gonna? He just wants to weigh in because he doesn't want to be outshined, and he's there. But here's a guy with no morals. Here's a guy who's never been married. Here's a guy who did porn, slept with loads of women, right? Here's a guy who's gonna weigh in on the relationship. Okay.
Because this would be good.
Yes.
Yeah, a good practical test. So, had this situation recently. Went on a first date with a woman who's a very entrepreneurial woman. Runs a very successful business. And the first date, I told her, obviously, meet me here, dress like this. I ordered her drinks. I ordered her food.
I love that.
I took care. Okay, bam, immediately. I took care of it all. And this is a woman who's extremely masculine.
Yeah.
In her everyday life. She's in charge of people. She manages a whole business. So she has to be on edge and responsible her whole daily life. I come along and I relieve that responsibility from her during this window of time that we're together. That allows her, in my experience, maybe.
So here you go. You got a manipulator who's probably telling a story that's not even true, but he's just speaking. You got a manipulator who knows what women want. Very intelligent man who knows how to get what he wants from women. Comes along and pays for the date, tells her what to wear, makes her feel feminine, automatically straight from the bat, makes her submissive to him. She doesn't have to worry about what she wears to impress him because he already told her what she wants to wear. He pays for the date, so she doesn't have to worry about paying. She doesn't have to worry whether or not he makes money. So she's taking all that burden off her shoulders, which totally makes sense, and that's very smart, but it's also very manipulative. And what does he get at the end of the day? He gets sex, because all of that is going to make her feel very sexual, because it's a lot of the reason why women don't feel sexual is because they're stressed out, because they're worried about how the date's going to go, worried about what the guy thinks, they're worried about what they've got a million things to worry about. And women are worriers. Women are naturally not taught to be confident or to be secure or to not worry, and women don't have that type of mindset, so they're constantly worrying. So when he comes around, he's manipulating her by figuring out how to take all that stress off of her. And again, we know that he's just a manipulator because he's a porn star. This is what this guy does. He knows how to get women into bed. And so there you go. He's telling you the game. He's telling you how to get a woman into bed. Take all the pressure off the date. Pay for the date. Make her feel secure so she can feel sexual, because women want to feel sexual. Women want sex, but they're worried about all these other things. Is the guy broke? Is he a loser? Is he masculine? Does he know how to take the lead? Does he know how to dominate? And already before the date even starts, he's taken most of that off of the table. That's very smart. But again, a manipulator. He's teaching women how, or he's teaching men how to get women into bed. And so, but is that going to help women in the long run? Is that going to help marriage in the long run? Is that going to help love in the long run? No, it's just temporary, and it's actually going to hurt women. It's going to hurt all of that for her future.
Disagree with you, agree. But that allows her to get into her feminine and to be submissive around me. And it's not that complicated for a man to come in and just confidently take control respectfully.
But most men won't go there, Sterling. I talked about this, my really good first date that I had, where he had everything planned out. He wasn't even from my city. He drove like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and he had the date planned out. He told me what to wear, same thing. Ordered for me, even though I didn't drink, but he still ordered it for me. He took me to an activity that I wasn't a fan of, but the fact that he planned everything, and it was all like, I didn't have to do anything. I told him, I was like, I don't want to have to think. And so I think that Sterling's example is a great one.
By the way, fully agree with.
And men are being taught how to do that. Modern PUA techniques, modern game is teaching women how to do that. But again, is it teaching men how to vet a quality woman? Is it teaching men how to be moral? It's still based on getting women into bed. It's always based on women getting women into bed because they assume that this is what men want. And yes, men do want that. But what men want even deeper is a quality companion. Men want a quality wife. But is there any advice out there for teaching women how to be a quality wife? Is there any advice out there teaching men and women how to really love each other and how to really be romantic in a kind of pure loving way? No, it's teaching them how to take stress off of women so that they can give you a BJ or woo her, or not even woo her, game her psychologically so that you can go straight back to your house and have wine and have sex. And it's just like, that's still part of the problem, and they're not saying that. Of course, again, Sterling Cooper, a porn star, so there you go, straight from the horse's mouth on that end of things.
Sterling, but let's go deeper.
Yeah.
That's a first date.
That's first date.
That's okay. Now you're dating a month, 2 months, 3.
No, see, most first dates end in sex. Women and men want to have sex on the first date. So he knows very easily how to butter a woman up, prime her for the sex. And then once he gets the sex, is he going to call her again? Is he going to have a relationship with her? Maybe he'll have sex with her 2 or 3 more times, and then he's going to dump her. And then what happens is you have all these women after that happens crying that they got ghosted, crying on TikTok that guys are not dating them long term. So there's still a major problem with what he said.
3 months, 6 months. Because women, essentially what we're talking about.
It won't even get to that point. It won't even get to 3 months or 6 months because women do not have quality personalities. Women do not have quality characters, and men know that. And guys like Sterling probably learned that early on, and we're like, all right, well, it's a messed up game. Women are messed up. No one's teaching women how to treat men. I'm not going to go out there looking for a unicorn. I'm just going to have sex with all these women. I'm just going to manipulate them into bed, and then I'm going to get what I want and forget about sex because forget about marriage and love because they'll probably never happen anyways because all these women are messed up. No one's teaching them how to be good lovers. No one's teaching them how to be good helpers. No one's teaching them how to be good wives.
Is a woman has to just let go and be like, all right, this dude's got me.
Trust you.
Which is very,
Very hard.
difficult
Very
for
hard.
a woman in today's society to do.
Correct.
To say, hold on, you actually want to take care of me? Why would I trust you? Oh my God, you make me feel safe. You make me feel secure. Can I trust you? I don't know.
Because so many men are manipulators, because so many men have learned how to manipulate. But really, a lot of the reason why men are manipulating is because women are manipulating too. Women are manipulating the men. You think men want to be used for our money? Men know that women want us for our money. You think men like that? No, we don't like that. That's why the red pill exists. That's why guys are going MGTOW. That's why guys are leaving the dating scene, because we don't want to be just used for our money. What I talk about on my channel all the time. So of course guys are going to it's like they're learning how to manipulate the manipulators. Everybody's manipulating everybody, and what ends up happening is people just end up hooking up and nothing else happens. They just end up having sex. There's no love and there's no marriage. Women get more and more jaded and more toxic and more plastic or whatever, and men get more and more whatever happens to them, more and more manipulated, or more and more. They become manipulators more themselves, or they get sad and lonely, or they end up just settling for some woman who's probably not good for them because they don't want to be lonely. A lot of men just and particularly if they can't get sex, a lot of men will act feminine to get a woman, or act submissive to a woman to get her. And then what does that tell her? It tells her she's the leader of the relationship, and that might work for a while, or it might work for the whole life of a marriage, but it's not a quality marriage. It's not a good example of a quality marriage when the woman leads. I talk about all this on my channel.
Oh, never felt this way. This is crazy. Oh my God, how do I know you're not going to leave me? A woman is going through all sort of a mixture of emotions.
I'll answer that question
Yeah,
too.
That's right. Now let's hear what the manipulator has to say.
go ahead.
paint a picture of the future.
Yeah.
If you don't have a vision, if you don't have a plan,
Is this guy married? No. He's telling you how to further manipulate for long-term sex.
where she's going to be, like, where's this going?
Yes.
What's
Don't
what does he
waste
want
your
from me?
time.
It's
That's right. Most women are like that. Most women are like, hey, all right, we're having sex now, but you know, I'm giving you the 30-day trial, but what about the future? What happens there?
she feels like it's a waste of time
Right.
because you haven't, as a man, you haven't clearly painted a picture of the future of you two together and what's going to be happening.
And also create.
By the way, it's,
Further manipulation. Of course, he didn't say anything about how that actually works out because he doesn't know because he's single.
such a great point, and this is kind of what we talked about.
See, today, everybody knows the problem. Everybody's able to identify the problem, but no one really has the solution, which is that, hey, you got to go back to the traditional values. Stop sleeping around. Stop hooking up on the first date. Go back to courting. Go back to that type of dating lifestyle where it's not about hookups. It's not about sex at all. It's about love. They used to be about that, but we lost that. And so, of course, guys like Sterling Cooper don't know or can't say that because it's not even in their vocabulary. It's not even in their vision. Because we live in a pornified world. We live in a degenerate, immoral world.
Is that being a provider or the breadwinner of the family is not just financial. It's vision, leadership, and
purpose.
having a plan.
And a purpose that you're getting her on board with. Because
Look at all that a man has to do. So they went through all that, talking about how men are, this very woman earlier, she said men have to do all this stuff. Men have to jump through all these hoops, and now they're all going back to all the burdens on the man's shoulders. Well, why doesn't my guy have purpose? Why doesn't my guy have a plan? Or why doesn't this? Why doesn't that? And it's like, because what are we planning for? What is our purpose for? Is it for women who don't deserve us? Is it for women who might divorce us and take all our money? Is it for these used up 304s, these ex hoes, these ex club girls? That's what our purpose and future and plan is for? No, I don't want that.
like even I talked with Sterling about sorry to bring it up, but about the girls, and I'm like, how do you get all these women on board? Like and they're different age, different backgrounds and stuff. But he has
The girls.
a very, like we've talked about it all day, he has a very clear-cut purpose of what he's going to do, where
The girls. So they're totally overlooking the fact that you're not supposed to hook up with multiple people. That's not how long-term marriage. So they're talking about love and long-term marriage and how long-term relationships are actually going to work. But you have Sterling Cooper here is like, yeah, I've got all these girls and this is what I do, and they're not even recognizing the fact that it's just a joke. It's just a short-term manipulation tactic.
he's going to live, how many children he's going to have, how he's going to raise it. Like, he has a fucking, like, it's in graphs. He knows what's up. And
No, he doesn't. He's saying she's too stupid. Look at that face. She's too stupid to recognize that it's just a manipulation tactic. Sure, he's selling girls this is how many kids I want. This is where I want to live. He's selling girls that to keep them around for sex. Because if it was real, he would have just married one. If he really had that plan, he wouldn't be single. Yeah, a manipulator can tell you how to long-term get a woman for sex. That stands to reason.
women want to feel safe, but they want to surrender and submit to someone who's present, who's acting like Shiva. That's why I say, like, and then you have to also connect with them. This one is a little more esoteric, but I believe it's very strong. You have to connect with them emotionally and spiritually in a sexual way. That's why
Oh my God. Yeah, we're just getting into just nonsense territory. Like, no shit, really? Okay, in a spiritual way. But again, who's getting married? They're all just hooking up. And they're already having sex by this point. And men immediately, when they're like, oh, well, I already got her into bed, I don't love her because I don't respect her. Because men don't respect women that they can bed before marrying. Hello.
presence activity, like yab yum, eye gazing, soul, all these things that I do at my retreats, there's a reason it works. Because it's when a man sits with a...
I don't think it does work. I think it sounds to me like witchcraft, honestly. I don't think it does work. I think this woman has got a dark part about her. So yeah, they can tell the truth and they can talk about what's really going on, but they don't really have any long-term answers.
woman, and just shows that, like, he's basically sitting and saying, I'm God and you're my goddess. and we're not going to say
Well,
anything.
we're gonna do this activity, so get,
Yeah.
like don't
Okay.
waste the good stuff for
Okay,
this
all right,
for
all
right
right.
now. Like we're
All
gonna
right,
get
all right.
there. So let me just wrap up this because we talked about the 3 elements of being a man. One being a provider. So let's wrap this up. We'll move on to number 2. The concept of being the provider. The man's painting this picture. Now put yourself in the men's shoes out there. Obviously, if you're a millionaire and things are great in life and it's like, get on my team, awesome, I've made my money, I've found my career, awesome, get on board with me. Okay, oftentimes those men have plenty of options.
They do.
So they're choosing the woman to get on board with them. Let's say you're the guy out there who's making 50 grand.
Or they're just pumping and dumping, which is more realistic, because if they know they got all the options and all the women want them, what are most men going to do, unfortunately? And this is where it's a problem with a man too, but it's not beneficial for a man really when he's in that position to even settle down. What you want is you want the woman who loves you when you got nothing. Men psychologically believe that, oh, well, once I got something, now you want me. Well, that's manipulation. So then they will try to turn it around on the woman and manipulate her by just getting sex from them. And this is why guys like Leonardo DiCaprio never get married, because you can never trust a woman, because female nature is like, hey, yeah, you know, I'm only having sex with the winners. I'm only marrying the winners. And guys are like, oh, really? That's the case? Okay, well, I'll just pump you and dump you. I'll just sleep with you. And why would I settle down for a woman who only loves me conditionally? For my money, right?
You're 26 years old. You're into this girl. Let's say you're 30 years old. You're making 80 grand, 100 grand. You're still not ready to officially take care of your woman, that she's just going to leave her job, because women want a lifestyle as well.
Security.
What?
Okay, so you're making $100K a year and you still can't provide her security? That's insane. That's what they just said. That's insane. That's bonkers. Of course men are walking away. We can't afford a woman.
Can the man say to the woman to at least have her buy into the vision, even if he's not there yet?
I would say, are you going around?
Yeah, go.
I would say that, like, I know this sounds bad, but you really have to fake it till you make it if you're in that position. You do, because I've had this very experience happen. I was
Bad advice, because if you're not successful, she'll leave you.
selling Sterling, where my ex is just not there. He's the demographic you actually described: money, age, everything. And he just simply said, listen, I can't give you what you want for at least 2 or 3 more years. I can't. But
He makes $100K a year and he can't give her what she wants. Are these people sane? Are these people living in reality? These people are single, they're old, they're probably constantly having sex and hooking up. I highly doubt any of these people are married. These are not role models or good examples. These are sick people.
I'm not like, yes, obviously, you know, I date casually a few girls here and there. He's 26, right? It'd be
Did she just say she dated girls? So she's a lesbian too?
weird if he didn't.
Oh no,
But
him.
he's like, there's no one else in the runnings to be wife and mother of my children. You are that person. I'm like, okay. And whether it's he's blowing smoke up my ass or not, you know, and he
So
did.
you're encouraging.
This woman looks like she's 40. I don't know what she's talking about being a mother. What guy in his right mind would want to make a 40-year-old woman a wife and the mother of his kids? I don't know what that's. He must be a weak person.
The man to lie to you?
No, I don't think he's lying. I think he has every intent. He means that. He's like,
Yeah.
there's no one else. There's no one else. You are that woman. I can't provide yet. I can't provide for you.
Okay, so you appreciate the honesty.
But I also think that he should make her inclusive into, even if he doesn't have the money, like, I want to build this with you, baby. Like, give me time. Like, he can't ask a woman for time. He can, and she can either say yes.
Yeah, and what happens if he doesn't make it? What happens if he doesn't make it? And the fact that he has to say that in the first place is just creepy. What happens if he doesn't make it? She'll leave him, guaranteed she'll leave him. So your whole love relationship is based on him providing. This is sick. This is just getting into like sickness territory. I want to see what that girl in the red has to say for a second. And there's only 5 minutes left anyways, but
Or she can say no.
Okay.
That's on her. But if you don't have the resources like you guys have, you can honestly say, like, and I hope they're being honest, but I would think they would, like, I don't have this yet, but in the next 5 years, you're in my life plan. I see you being the mother of my children. And like, I want you to stand beside me and all these things. Build with me. Use team, we, us, future, mother, children, things like that. Now a woman can decide at that point what she wants to do with it. That's her gamble.
Just creepy. Like, I'm gonna give you an IOU to marry me because maybe someday I'll have money. Like, what the hell is that? If you love somebody, you love somebody, and money shouldn't come into the equation. That person is special to you because it's about love. That has just been lost. This generation, last generation, somewhere it got lost, and we haven't recovered it. And these people are not even looking at that because in their mind, money rules. Money is their God. Money is their God. How sick and sad is that?
And the older she is, that is a gamble on her.
Got it.
Right? If she doesn't have children.
And I like what you said, using the terms like we, us, ours.
Team, mother, child, things like that.
What do you think a man can do to get his woman to buy in to his vision, even if he's not where he wants to be yet?
Ambition is sexy. Ambition is sexy. Like, you can have a man that's a multimillionaire that loses everything and has to rebuild it, right? It's the mindset.
Right, Jose?
It's the mindset.
It's all about money. It's all about money. These people are sick, man. It's sick. So they started out really good, and I gave them kudos. I was like, oh yeah, this is all good. Because they were telling the truth at first. But now it's all about money, and it's just sick. Can't endorse this, can't condone.
It's the, like, I'm going to go after it, I'm going to go get it, and I want you to be a part of it. Exactly, the team. That's it.
Yeah.
Linda, final thought.
I pretty much agree with both of them. I think I would add that as women, we are intuitive. We have intuition. And if you start getting like that bad vibe where this guy's like lying to me or he's bullshitting or just like blowing smoke on my ass, like, you're going to know that. Like, you're supposed to know that.
Nasty and disgusting. I'm going to end it there. It's just nasty and disgusting. At the end of the day, they all want money. At the end of the day, love to them is a financial transaction. That's just not good, man. Not good. I'm going to end it there, guys. There's not more to say. It started out very honest. I thought it was all good. And then they just went into this finances, and I'm just going to end it because it's just sick and just sad. And this is the whole reason why we take the red pill. This is why we leave the Matrix, because, oh, my love is based on money. Oh, okay. So anyway, hope you guys got some good points out of all this, but I'm gonna stop now. So appreciate you guys listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.